Questions? Yeah. Number 10. Here we go. So I can immediately start the derivative, which is controlled by the power. So it's the power rule. 2/3 comes down. 1 plus x to the 4th. I take 1 away from 2/3, which is negative 1/3, times the chain rule. And the chain rule is going to be the derivative of that. So the chain rule, I'm going to be very consistent today, is always going to be in blue, okay? So if it's blue writing, it came from the chain rule. The derivative of 1 plus x to the 4th is 4x to the 3rd. So that's the answer. Now if I simplify, 4 times 2 is 8. X to the 3rd over 3. 1 plus x to the 4th to the negative 1/3. Or 8x cubed over 3, the cube root of 1 plus x to the 4th. The reason I write the word or, if it's multiple choice, you're forced to make it match. If it's free response, you can leave it as a top option, okay? Did I answer your question? Okay. Candace. 16. So we've been talking about if it's a constant times something, we don't need the product rule. Would you agree? So no product rule here. Y prime. Or it is y prime, but can I call it something else? I want to get you more comfortable with notation. You could also call it dy dx. Y prime is dy dx, okay? 4. The derivative secant, you took in your notes, it should be secant tangent. So secant 5x tangent 5x times, and here's the chain rule, times. And this is what I started to talk about, Zoe, yesterday. If you're not trained where to look, if you're looking in the wrong location, you're going to do the chain rule too many times, right? So where should I be looking? Should I be looking at A, B, C, or maybe D? Where should I be looking for the chain rule? A, only the original function. So I took the derivative of secant. Now I have to take the derivative of 5x, which is going to be in blue. What's the derivative of 5x? 5. So that's the answer. 20 secant 5x tangent 5x. Did I answer your question on that one? Okay. Yeah. 14. You have a question on this one? Yes. Some of them will not simplify at all. Some will, like I can make one that drastically simplifies, you know? And this one just doesn't. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, what was it? 14. This is a great question. I'm gonna build off of this one, okay? So would you agree A is a constant? So that's gone. I'm gonna rewrite the problem. You're highly encouraged to do this, okay? Cosine cubed x is cosine x cubed. It is not, Aiden, focus. It's not this. This means something completely different. X is cubed, not cosine, okay? So y prime. What's the derivative of a cubed? Is it 3a squared? No. We said a is a constant. Every constant drops off. The cosine part would be 3 cosine x to the 2nd times the chain rule, which I'll do in blue. Remember, you look at the original problem, the derivative of cosine is negative sine, and that's the answer. It doesn't really simplify. Yes? 15. Oh, I was gonna touch on this one. Okay, let me build one like this. Yeah.
So would cosine x in parentheses, the third power, be the same as cosine of the third x?
Wait, isn't that what we just said? here is an AP question, okay? I'm even going to make it multiple choice. You guys ready? Okay. So f of x, write this down, is sine squared x. Find f prime of x. Option A. That's pretty impressive. I can do all that really quickly, right? Right? No, not really. Okay. I'm going to pause the video. How many people will vote for A? Nobody. B? C? D? None. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's C. Let's see. You were encouraged to rewrite it, so I'm going to quickly rewrite it. Not in blue, though. Blue is going to represent chain rule today. We said we can write it like this, right? F prime, the 2 comes down, sine x to the what power? 1 power, times the chain rule, which would be in blue. And for the chain rule, you have to look at the original, cosine x. Well, this is the double angle formula from last year. The double angle formula for sine is 2 sine x cosine x. You guys didn't do double angle formulas last year? It's in chapter 7. Chapter 7 started off with proofs. Verify the left side equals the right side, right? Yeah. No, it's a big part of chapter 7. Mm-hmm. Sine times cos what?
The formula is sine times cosine or sine 2x.
No, you also need the 2. So let's write these down. These are the only trig formulas you have to know this whole year, okay? So make sure and don't lose this paper. Yeah, I can even picture it in the book, the purple book. You guys use the Larson book. It's section 7.5 most likely, or 7.6. Sine 2x is always 2 sine x cosine x. Cosine 2x is the difficult one. That's the one that has 3 different formulas. The first one is cosine squared x minus sine squared x. 2 cosine squared x minus 1, 1 minus 2 sine squared x. These are the only double angle formulas you have to know for the rest of the year. You don't have to know tangent or anything else, okay? And I'll tell you why. These are very cumbersome to type up if you're going to ask a lot of trig questions, you know? So on this one, you can see it's much easier for someone that writes these problems to write sine 2x instead of the yellow one, you know? So the AP people are constantly just reducing things. That way it's easier to make up all these different versions of the test. So make sure, keep this somewhere. These you have to know for every chapter this whole year. Okay, and my last question for today, I have hers. Can I go to a new slide? That was yours, right? That was this one. The derivative of e to the anything is e to the anything times the chain rule. What's the derivative of this? Negative m. And that's the final answer. Cool? Okay, take out a sheet for notes. We're going to continue. We're still on the chain rule. Nothing has changed. It's just, I mentioned yesterday, You really need to be exposed to a lot of problems to get better and better at this, okay? So we're going to transition to notes. So this will be chain rule. Day 2, I guess. Today we're going to focus on these derivatives. So you should already know the derivative sine is cosine. Derivative cosine is negative sine. So today we're going to focus on e to the x is e to the x. This one's going to be a new one. So I'll put mu. The tangent and secant are not new, but we haven't been focusing on it. So let's do this. I'm going to pause the video. Try to memorize these three. You should already know e to the x, okay? So I'm going to pause the video. Here we go. F of x equals 7x f prime equals 7x. What else? ln 7. What's the derivative of 3 to the x? You should start seeing a pattern here, right? 11x ln 11. Right? Do you guys see the pattern? Okay. So none of those had the chain rule, so let's do the chain rule one. H of x equals 4x squared. Find h prime of x. Give it your best shot. It should only take about 15 seconds. So the answer is 4x squared ln 4 times 2x. Now, let's say, again, I'm very good at writing multiple choice. Let's say it's not an option. Do you have the skills to make it match one of these options? Just to give you a heads up, it's never none. I don't like choosing none, so the answer is not none. No. So the reason we put it on tests sometimes, let's say I'm writing a test very quickly and I don't write anything down. I just type it up. So I put none in case I made a mental mistake, and now the answer is there. It's none. You know. Okay. The answer is absolutely. Yes. No? What is this extra credit everyone talks about? I don't understand that. This 2 can be moved here, here, because we talked about this yesterday. A times B times C is equal to C times B times A. The order doesn't matter, right? So I'm going to put the 2 right here. And the X, I can put here. So I'm going to erase that. Well, where can we move this to? A number in front of the ln can move where? To the exponent. And what is 4 squared? Right? 4 squared is 16. Yeah. No, I'm not sure where you're getting 8x cubed. The order of operations, the PEMDAS, doesn't allow us to do that. So the exponent comes before multiplication, and you're trying to write it as an 8, you said, right? So the multiplication cannot come before the exponent. Okay, let's keep going. F of x equals 7 sine x. Find f prime of x. So the template cannot change. It has to be 7 sine x ln 7 times the chain rule. The derivative of sine is cosine. Yes? Is it starting to make sense or no? Okay, we'll do one at the same level and then I'll make a harder one, okay? G of x equals 5 e to the x. Yeah, a lot of these don't simplify. The ones with the powers. So it would have to be 5 e to the x ln 5 times the derivative of e to the x is e to the x. Good? All those are at the same level. Okay, so this one is much harder. This time, you're going to be given way more time. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. You're highly encouraged to check what your neighbor got, and then we'll move forward, okay? So find me the derivative of this one. Now, I'll pause the video. Okay, so I was walking around, and a lot of people had this. And then the next part, we're always looking at the original. So with a brand new set of eyes, let's pretend that's the whole problem. That's it. How would you find a derivative of that? The product rule. We have x times cosine x. This next part is going to be controlled by the product rule, and it's all the chain rule. So here we go. First, derivative of the second plus the second or the first. And there's our final answer. It does not simplify. Good job, Aiden. Okay, was that a lot of practice with this one definition? Is that cool? Okay, let's move on to the other ones. So today we're practicing this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. So okay, same thing. Go ahead and try this on your own. We know the derivative of E is E itself times. Is anybody wondering why we don't have ln E? Well, we don't need it, but the formula that I gave you is perfect. If I wanted to, I could attach the ln E. It really is there, but what is ln E? It's 1. So the derivative of anything is itself times the chain rule. So that's where we're at right now. So the chain rule is this guy. The derivative tangent is secant squared. And that was the answer. What is controlling this problem? Product rule. So make sure your template is the product rule. So I better see a plus sign as I walk around. And there will be a chain rule somewhere. So see if you guys can figure it out, okay? Okay, here we go. It should be first derivative of the second. The derivative of secant is secant tangent times the chain rule. So the derivative of x squared is 2x. You need a blue. Well, I guess I'm using the color blue today for chain rule. The 2x right there. So that's the first or the second plus the second derivative of the first. It's this constant feedback of, oh, I got it wrong. I can see it, that you need, okay? This constant you try and get correction is what you need right now, okay? So if you're feeling bad, it's like, man, I keep getting these wrong. That's not a big deal right now, okay? We're far away from the test. So we have tangent divided by tangent divided by 3 raised to the sine pi x. What's controlling this one? The quotient rule. So make sure the main outline looks like this. And we say low d high minus high d low over low squared. Okay, so I'm going to start catching up here. It's low. D high, the derivative tangent is secant squared, minus high, d low, so the derivative of 3 to any power is 3 to that same power, ln 3, times the chain rule, which is going to be in blue. The derivative sine is cosine, pi x, times, I'm out of colors here, but times the chain rule in green. What's the derivative of pi x? All over low squared. So remember, it's called the chain rule because it can have multiple lengths. The power itself had an inside function of the pi x. So questions on any part of that? Okay, do you guys remember how to do a tangent line? What are the three things we need for a tangent line? X and y. The derivative at x, and then the point slope. So that's going to be, I mentioned it's going to be on every homework from now on, so I'm sure it's on this one homework as well. Find the equation of a tangent line. You guys get to choose 43 through 46. Which one looks harder? 45? 46? 46. Okay, let's do 46. So they want a tangent line. We need an x and a y, and it was given to us, so check. We need the derivative evaluated when x is 1, and y minus 1/3, or 1 over e, equals m x minus 1. So this is what I need you to do. I need you to do step number 2. Find me the derivative and plug in 1. It's okay if you get it wrong, but this feedback that I keep telling you about, that's super important, okay? Okay, I see this being controlled by the product rule, so there's going to be a plus sign here. First, derivative of the second. The derivative of e to the anything is e to the anything times the chain rule in blue. The derivative of negative x is negative 1. Plus the second derivative of x, or x squared is 2x. Don't simplify, because we're going to plug in a 1 for every x immediately. So y prime at 1 is 1 squared times e to the negative 1 plus e to the negative 1 times 2. This is going to give me a negative 1 over e plus a 2 over, sorry, I said it wrong, 2 over e, which, would you agree these two fractions have a common denominator, right? So I can get this. That's going to get rolled into my slope. Any questions on any part of that? How about Esther? No. Let me see what else is on the homework. So just like when we did the product rule and quotient rule, we're now going to transition to more symbols. It's a table, so we have to know how to pull information from the table. So let's do A and B together. They want me to find h prime of 1. I must first find h prime of x. So how would you find the derivative of this guy? Is that a product? Is that division, or is that something else? It's just the chain rule, right? So on the chain rule, we take the derivative of the outside, which is what? F. So who knows the derivative of f? F prime. So f prime, the inside does not change, times, I'll switch to the color blue. What's the derivative of the inside? G prime. Now I can find what they want me to find, and that's h prime of 1. So every x is going to become a 1. And now I just have to pull information correctly off the chart, which I will give you a head start. Try and figure out what to pull where. And I'll even color code everything here. There we go. Okay, the first one I'll do in blue. G prime of 1 is right here, 6, so that's going to become the number 6 times. This part will be in green. G of 1 is 2, so 2 is going to slide in there. F prime of 2, I'm going to put a blue box around this. F prime of 2 is this blue box 5. Okay, go ahead and do all of B, and I'll show you the result. So work ahead, do all of B, and see if you guys get that right. Okay, did you guys get 36? Any questions on any part of that? Step A, B, C, or D? It's not making sense. You got a different number. No? Okay. So we did a lot of problems, right? I'm going to stop here. So tonight's homework is to, I think yesterday you stopped somewhere else. You stopped at 20, right? Okay. So picking up with 21, we're just going to do the odds on this side. So 21, I'll circle them for you. Let's do 21 through 35 odd. Next page. All of these, there's only 4 of those, the tangent line problems. 43, 45, 40, sorry, I went out of order. 43 through 46. '51. If something is horizontal, what kind of slope does that have? Horizontal. 0. And in our class, slope means what? The derivative, right? Doesn't the derivative tell me the slope? So the directions for 51 is you're going to set the derivative equal to 0. '53, 54, 55. And the last one is 57. I think that's good. Oh, this is a good one. We'll do 64 tomorrow in class. Okay. Do the best you can. I think I gave you the answers, right? and the PDF's online. So this is the same homework, just bigger, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, so you guys have 10 minutes. I would try and do some homework problems. The same one. It's still homework 14. It's just got bigger. 15. 15. Just got bigger. Okay, I'll stop the recording.